So I've been seeing a lot of people talk in the Fortnite community about how OG Fortnite, the permanent game mode, needs OG movement back. And listen, I have agreed for so long. In my personal opinion, the past few months, and it's been months now, Fortnite OG, listen, it's just been flying by. And as you all know, we have the release of season 3 coming in about a week. But I've heard so much talk about OG movement, how it needs to come back, and it just needs to be in the game because it's affecting the player count that much. And I truly think that as well. I think OG movement not being in the game is really just hurting the game mode by tens of thousands of players. But there's so many problems with bringing OG movement back that honestly, now that I'm rethinking it, it really wouldn't make sense to add it in the game, unless they did a few tweaks. Now, I have some ideas on why they should bring it back, how they could make it where it would fit everything, and I'll go more into that later, but also why they shouldn't bring it back with its current state. Let's get right into it. Yo, what's going on, guys? If you're new here, my name is Tricky. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to use code TRICKYS, TRICKYS, in the Fortnite item shop. It's been helping me out a lot, been helping fund giveaways, and if you want to join those giveaways, make sure to join the description down below. It's completely free, or you can just go to discord.gg/tricky. Now, OG movement is very loved just because it was obviously the original movement in the game, and Epic Games since chapter 5 has been making a lot of movement changes. We've never really seen anything like this before except since chapter 3, where they added sprinting and sliding, which was really just a huge necessity in the game. I mean, Epic Games just advanced so much from the time that Fortnite has started and the way that the gameplay works. It's a completely different game now, and they have to adapt to that by updating the movement, which, I mean, that's understandable, but so many people have been wondering why the OG movement isn't in the OG Fortnite game mode. It makes no sense to so many people, and really it made no sense to me at first either. I mean, how are you going to get all the original players to come back where they know one mechanic, bring everything else back that's original, but don't bring back probably one of the most important things, which is the mechanics, the movement? Now, the first problem that I do want to go over is that Fortnite OG and Fortnite Chapter 6 would be just completely different. And obviously that's fine, but Epic Games wants people from Fortnite OG to go and play their Chapter 6 game mode and maybe a lot of their creative maps. That's their end goal, is to get a lot of people that maybe still like Fortnite. They want to give them a chance at these newer game modes, which is completely understandable. But I mean, if you're going back for OG, you're probably going to play Chapter 6 maybe once or twice and then just stick to OG, which is really what I've been doing as well. I played really one game of Chapter 6 Season 2, and the rest have just been OG, because, I mean, I'm an OG creator. I love OG. But, I mean, that's the first problem. I think that's also Epic Games' biggest problem as well. They want ease of access for each game mode so that you don't have to completely relearn another mechanic or adapt to it mid-game. The second problem is that I know we have Fortnite OG with regular builds, but what about zero build players? I've noticed a ton of zero build players also wanting OG movement back, but the thing is that they wouldn't be able to add the bunkers that we have now. I mean, they could, obviously, but then people would be saying it's not OG and that they should just stick to not putting the bunkers in the game, which really wouldn't make sense at all. I mean, it would be a lot RNG based and more positioning as well. You can't really hide behind anything because you can just break a tree with a few shots. But I mean, it would be kind of cool to see if Epic Games can just test it out maybe for a week, and if it doesn't work, just go back to the Chapter 6 movement. But what about the regular build players? If you have OG movement and builds and regular Chapter 6 movement and zero build, it just really wouldn't make a lot of sense. They would also have to update it completely differently, at least from my perspective and what I've been told, but it would just be a huge gameplay difference. And then the third reason, and I think probably one of the most known reasons for why a lot of people don't want it back, I wouldn't even say a lot of people, I feel like majority of OG players want OG movement back. And if you play OG, make sure to just type down below, I mean, how would you feel about OG movement coming back? Do you want it back? And do you think it's even beneficial to boost the player count for the game? In my opinion, I feel like people have just adapted so much to the new movement in Epic Games' eyes, but in reality, that's just not it at all. Since most of these players played during Chapter 4 Season OG, and obviously the original, it still had the same movement look, the movement feel, except in Chapter 4 Season OG, it had sliding, sprinting. I don't think there was mantling. There wasn't any mantling. But yeah, you get my point. I think it's just really tough as well because Epic Games has a lot of new people in their circle, mainly the developers and the creative team. And also maybe a lot of people came over from Disney whenever Disney bought out a share of Epic Games. If you didn't know that, this happened a little while ago. I believe it was right during Chapter 5 Season 1. But Disney probably also has a lot of control over the OG mode, which a lot of people may be surprised about, but that's just the truth. But all in all, I feel like they're using OG as kind of a trap. I know that sounds bad, that I shouldn't even say that, but they're using them to lure people in to make them just play their main game modes. Honestly, that's not a bad thing, but I mean, if people are coming for OG, make it stick to OG. Now, if they were to add it back, this is my best plan that I have. I would obviously add it back into builds as soon as possible, but also they need to take out ranked. I mean, ranked player count is just terrible in OG right now. But I mean, if they did add OG movement back, I feel like a lot more people would play ranked, or maybe switch it to arena, because in my opinion, dude, arena was just 1,000 times better. Everything that arena was about, it just made the gameplay style feel 1,000 times better. And you also had Siphon, but Epic Games probably should have handled this differently and maybe talked to creators as well, basically asking them what should be added back and what should stay from the newer game modes to kind of make this into a remastered game mode. But at the end of the day, it's not a remaster, or they didn't claim it to be a remaster whenever they released it. But it would just be nice for creators to be able to take over OG, since, I mean, there's really no creativeness that needs to be applied. But I mean, remastering the graphics, if you play on high settings, it looks really good, especially on PC. I don't know too much about PlayStation or Xbox. If graphics look good on there, I wouldn't really see a problem with that. But in my opinion, all in all, OG Fortnite just should have been completely different. And I feel like it was very rushed too, because they saw a huge drop in their player count, especially after chapter 5. Whenever they decided to make new movement, they thought that they could probably recover from that by just adding it into OG and showing people, hey, it's really not as bad as what y'all thought. And then, you know, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Listen, Epic Games is a very good company. I think they've done very well with the OG game mode, but they definitely need a better connection with their community, and I feel like they just aren't doing that, especially with these thousands and thousands of creator maps, which I understand. I mean, Epic Games is trying to go to the next level, sort of go the Roblox route, but at the end of the day, if it really is hurting your original player base, you're going to lose them at some point. But now I feel like OG Fortnite doesn't even hit that mark anymore. Yes, we're not even near the live events yet, or really where the nostalgia was, but I feel like for a lot of people, it just didn't hit the mark for them. I don't know, I'm hoping Epic Games decides to add arena instead of ranked. Obviously, adding the old movement back, if they were going to, then they couldn't really put it in zero builds unless they added the porta bunkers. I really do think it's kind of odd that so many people aren't coming back because of the old movement. I think majority, I've seen so many of my comments, by the way, I read a lot of y'all's stuff, mostly positive too. I love y'all. I think most of y'all's comments are really just like, it's sweats. I mean, there's no balance, and I definitely think that balance would be arena. I mean, the player count on ranked OG is just, I mean, terrible. I mean, I can't even find a lobby. I remember I played on stream and there was like 300 people in there. Like during the day too, it wasn't even the bad hours. So they need to remember their target audience. It's older players. They're not going to want to play the new game modes, and if they are, just to let them go. But keep it original, because if anyone at Epic Games is watching this, people are coming back specifically for OG. They're not coming back at all for Chapter 6, nor will they want to play the Chapter 6 game mode if OG Fortnite isn't even holding up to expectations. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, use code TRICKIES, join the Discord down below, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.